Good morning, everybody. This is Miss Crystal. Today, I wanted to teach y'all about an artist by the name of John James Audubon. And he's a pretty cool guy because he is the painter of birds. So let me tell you a little bit about him. I got all my John James Audubon prints that I had just randomly found them. I've also got a couple other ones. So he loved birds. He did do some mammals, but that's a different. We want to talk about his first big project, and that was his book on birds. So we have every kind of 435 different kinds of birds, okay, that he painted. And I'm going to show you they were much bigger than this, but that's kind of the secret of the day. Okay, so, and then at the end, I'm going to give you a little project so that you can go and do your own kind of birds. Okay, so this is, let me show you, let me present this. Okay, so yes, there we go. Okay, this is John, the artist is John James Audubon. Let me come over here and we are going to flip through all of these pictures. Okay, here he is. That's him. That's a painting of him. He was, and let's talk about the next one. John James Audubon was born in 1785. So to kind of like, that is about 10 years after the Declaration of Independence. But he was actually born in the Caribbean and then moved to France. So we would call him a French-American artist, and he was self-trained, and he was a naturalist, which means he really loved nature, which I do too. And he was also, this is one of the vocabulary words of the day, an ornithologist. Okay, an ornithologist is a person who studies birds specifically. Okay, his combined interests of the art that he loved and ornithology turned into a plan to make a complete pictorial, okay, record of all the bird species of North America. Okay, a pictorial means the pictures or the illustrations. So he wanted, at that time, we didn't have photographs, we had just drawings, and there were other artists who were going out there and they would draw the birds, but they were drawing them from taxidermy. So they would bring the birds in and, you know, they would draw them. He was actually out there, and he was also a taxidermist, but he would go and observe the birds. We're going to get to that. But he wanted a pictorial image. So if you're living in New York and you didn't know what a turkey looked like or a robin, he was creating those and making a picture or pictorial images. Okay, he was notable for his extensive studies, as I was just explaining, for observing and documenting all types of North American birds and birds, for his detailed illustrations or those pictorial pictures, okay, which depicted the birds in their natural habitats. This is really important because not a lot of people, in fact, nobody at that time was going, hey, what kind of trees do the robins land in? What this is a spoonbill, but where does it live? Is it in the marsh or is it in the snow? So that he was going through that, and he was showing you not just what they were eating or doing, but what they were what was in the background. Okay, no other artist was doing this at the time. Audubon drew and then he watercolored the birds in natural positions with their natural leaves, the food, and the surroundings. He then sent these paintings to become plates. Okay, why are Audubon's paintings called plates? That is because Audubon sent his paintings over to London, I believe. Audubon's originals are referred to by a specific plate number. So he has 1 to 435 these plates, okay? They're large, smooth copper plates, so like a big slab of copper. And then they are numbered from 1 to 435. They're as big as this, and they're even bigger in some of the cases. I'll learn about that in a minute. They would then etch the images that he created. So there would be another person who etches those in to the copper plate, and then and then they would print them. So you see on this image right here on the right, there is a Labrador falcon, and on the left is the print that it would make. So they would create that print. And how do they do that? The plate was black inked, so black ink everywhere. Dampened paper was pressed upon it. The paper was pulled from the plate, resulting in a properly oriented black and white image. Okay, so they would reverse it. So this one here is reversed, and that's the correct image. Okay, the image was then hand colored and was repeated about 200 times, and that was about the time that the plates would start to wear down. So we only have about 200 copies of this book. Okay. And those plates were made into books. So then they would take these plates that they've created these hand painted, and they would create it 200 times and they would put in books. Big books, y'all. Big books. I like big books. If y'all look in this photo, there's a woman who's actually flipping through one of Audubon's books. John James Audubon wanted to paint all the birds of America in their actual size. So he wasn't doing bald eagles that were teeny tiny. He wanted them to be large. So he would create them large and life size, but they don't have paper that big back then. You can't just go run down to Hobby Lobby and grab you some paper, okay? So he needed big paper for the bigger birds like flamingos, the swans, the eagles, and other large birds. So he got paper that was called elephant paper, specially made for him. It was 40 inches. So think about the size of a kindergartner, about 40 inches by about 27 inches, and that's fairly large. Here is all of these works. There were 435 of them. It's the major part of his works becomes a color-plated book called The Birds of America. It is considered one of the finest ornithological, means birds, works ever completed. John James Audubon is also known for identifying 25 new ones. He went down from Florida to Texas, all over, but he identified new birds and created images and pictorial images of all the ones that he knew. He is also the eponym, which is a vocabulary word, kind of, for the National Audubon Society. So this is a society for bird lovers and for the protection of birds. And in fact, we actually have several Audubon centers in Dallas. So we actually have one in Cedar Hill and one in downtown Dallas. And I have a little travel journal where I can go get stamps from all the Audubon centers in North America. Okay. Here's a couple more images. I love the flamingo, y'all. It's so bright and pink. And then you see, like, he couldn't get it standing up. So he found a natural position for the flamingo when his head is turned down. And you can even see how they're standing in the back. He really wanted you to know how they stand. Okay. These are these parrots and then a hawk, and he's carrying away a little bunny rabbit right there. But that hawk is. Let's talk about our project. Okay. We now know a little bit more about Audubon. And if you'll want to go watch, there's tons of great YouTube videos out there talking about the different kinds of who he was. So go watch those to my students. But we're going to draw like John James Audubon. So what I'm hoping that y'all will be able to do, and I'll show some examples, is go out in nature. Okay. He was a naturalist, an ornithologist, so the scientist who studies birds, and a self-trained artist. We're going to draw some birds. We're going to explore online. Switching over from tenses. You can explore online drawing guides. I have a couple here. There's ones online. There are videos online. I also have how to draw birds. I've got a couple of these different ones out there, and it doesn't have to be anything this complicated. I've got the cutest little heron here that I thought little kids could be able to do, but there's a ton of them out there on the internet. Get your mom's help. You're going to use markers, pencils to sketch these small birds, large birds, single birds, or a whole flock. I want you to enjoy the process and let your creativity soar. So go. I didn't even know the pun. I didn't mean that on purpose. Anyways, let your creativity soar. Okay, for those of y'all who are a little bit more advanced and want an extra challenge, go outside and draw from nature. Can you go find a bird? He also did small mammals, so a squirrel or like a lizard. Like, go draw an animal outside. I love birds because that's what John James Audubon was known for, and his ornithologist. So go be a naturalist. Go be an ornithologist. Can you draw life size? I doubt that any of you are going to be running into bald eagles, but I bet you'll find birds, bluebirds, cardinals, titmouses, black-capped chickadees are out there. And they're all this big. Can you draw a bird about yay big on a piece of paper? And then you can go in your backyard and then draw what's around it. Did that titmouse pick up a little bit of a stick or a rock? Was the bird in its nest? Those are extra challenges for my older kids. And let's see some examples. So here's some examples of things I found online and also the next pages of my own kids. So there's ones up here where there's actually a study a bird, and go get a picture. If you're like, Miss Crystal, I'm not going outside, that's fine. Go print off a picture or look at a picture online and be able to draw that. If you see these two sketchbooks on the left, those are super interesting to make. Though I think they're very nature journaling, and that's even in this book here. This is a different version here, but you can see this is a squirrel, but they wrote down little interesting tidbits. Like, are you seeing the bird flutter? Is it soaring in the sky? What is it doing? In the middle there is one of those drawing guides. There's a ton of them online. You can also pause the video here and do this one here. You also have all kinds of books out there if you do. And there's also, I just think online, there's a ton of them. And I don't care what level you're at. The one here of the eagle on the post is a very different level than the one that was down there. And I want you just to have the spirit of Audubon and what he was trying to do out there and create. Okay. On the left are two of my own kiddos versions. See? One of them created a mallard duck that is a female mallard. And then the other one just wanted to create a bird, and she did not even color it. Here is another swooping bird, and you also see it looks like a little painting of a bird. So go create some birds, y'all. This is you can pause it here too if you want this. That bit is from this book here. It is called Barn Owl. When you do drawings like this, start with a number 2 pencil and draw lightly. For my littler kids, this is fine. Okay, and this is also his version of the barn owls. And you see they have a little chipmunk in them. Okay, I love barn owls. So much my favorite. And that's it. Okay, guys, I hope that y'all have just a really fun experience and a really fun creating these birds. And like I said, go get you a sketchbook, go get a piece of paper, pencils, and go outside and draw. Be an ornithologist and an artist for the day. Y'all have a great week. God loves y'all.